Teacher Lisa never thought that her peaceful and routine life would be interrupted by an event that would change everything. She taught science at Hilltop High School, a small town in California known for its beautiful landscapes and mild climate. Everything seemed normal until one day, when Lisa was about to start her class, she heard a scream from outside the school. She looked out the window and saw a group of students running in panic into the building. Lisa immediately sprang into action, closed the classroom door, and asked the students what was happening. They told her that they were on a hike to study the local wildlife when they were attacked by a wild animal. Still in shock, they couldn't identify what kind of animal it was. Lisa became concerned and decided to check what was happening. She grabbed a flashlight and left the classroom, making sure all the students were safe. She walked through the dark and silent school corridors, only hearing the sound of her own footsteps. She arrived at the front door and looked outside, illuminating the area with her flashlight. What she saw made her tremble. A huge animal with black fur and bright red eyes was prowling around the school. It was so big that Lisa couldn't identify what kind of animal it was. She quickly realized that her students were in danger and needed to be kept safe inside the school. She ran back to her classroom and locked the door. She grabbed her cell phone and tried to call the police, but the network was overloaded. Lisa knew she had to act quickly. She looked around the classroom and realized she had to improvise something to defend herself and protect her students. She remembered an old box of equipment that the former biology teacher used to use in his classes. Lisa searched the room until she found the box, and was relieved to see that it was full of useful equipment, like knives, scissors, and gardening tools. She quickly distributed the equipment among her students and gave instructions on how to use them. Lisa realized they were afraid but also determined to protect themselves. She told them they would stay together and fight until help arrived. They heard the heavy footsteps of the animal outside the classroom door, and Lisa knew that at any moment the animal could break down the door. She grabbed one of the knives from the box and positioned herself next to the door, ready to defend herself. She heard a scratching sound, followed by the sound of the doorknob being turned. The animal tried to open the door, but Lisa pushed the doorknob back. The animal growled and began scratching the door. Lisa looked around and realized she needed to improvise a stronger barrier. She asked her students to push the desks and chairs to block the door. They hurried to follow her instructions, moving the furniture with all the force they could muster. Meanwhile, Lisa grabbed one of the rolls of paper in the room and started wetting the sheets with water. She tied the sheets together with a piece of string she found in the toolbox. She then secured the wet paper to the door handle with the string, forming an even stronger barrier. The animal growled even louder, and Lisa realized they were in a very dangerous situation. She asked her students to stay silent and hide under the tables. Lisa, holding the knife tightly, walked slowly toward the room's window, trying to find an escape route. She carefully watched the wild animal outside, which was now jumping and scratching the door with even more force. Lisa realized the animal was a black bear, one of the most dangerous species in California. She knew she needed to find a way to distract the bear and get out of the school with her students. She quickly grabbed her phone and tried to make another call, but there was still no signal. She realized the only option was to use the school's sound system to alert the authorities and ask for help. She explained the plan to her students, and together they split up into groups to find the necessary equipment to make the connection. Lisa and a group of students managed to find the microphone and speaker. They worked together to make the connection, and finally, Lisa was able to speak through the school's sound system. She described the situation and urgently asked for help. While they waited for help, the bear continued to scratch the door, trying to get in. Lisa realized she needed a distraction to keep the bear away from the door. She grabbed one of the fire extinguishers in the room and instructed her students to get ready for action. She opened the door of the room and, with the fire extinguisher in hand, ran toward the bear. The bear was momentarily surprised by Lisa's action, and she took the opportunity to throw the fire extinguisher powder into its eyes. The bear screamed in pain and tried to back away, but Lisa continued to advance, directing the extinguisher at the bear's nose and mouth. Finally, the bear retreated, and Lisa was able to return to the room with her students safely. She locked the door again and returned to her place next to the window. They waited for a few more minutes. They waited anxiously until they heard the sound of helicopters and police cars approaching the school. Lisa and her students felt relieved to hear the sounds and the presence of authorities. Lisa asked her students to remain silent and not leave the classroom until they received permission from the police. They waited with anticipation until the door of the room finally opened and a police officer entered. He checked to make sure everyone was okay, and led them to the school's exit, where parents and emergency services were waiting for them. Lisa felt a wave of relief seeing her students and their parents safe. She knew that she had done what was necessary to protect her students and that they were alive thanks to her courage and intelligence. Later, Lisa learned that the bear had been captured by authorities and none of her students had been injured. She was praised for her courage and leadership in an emergency situation and gained recognition for her exemplary attitude. However, Lisa also realized that there was something very wrong in that situation. She was intrigued by the presence of the bear in the school and decided to investigate further. She began asking questions and investigating the surroundings of the school. She found that the area was being affected by a large construction that was destroying the natural habitat of wildlife, and forcing them to search for food and shelter in urban areas like the school where she worked. Lisa was shocked to learn that authorities were ignoring the effects of the construction on local wildlife, and that the construction had been the root cause of the bear's attack on the school. She decided to take action to solve the problem and started working on awareness campaigns and activism. Lisa became an advocate for wildlife and fought for animal rights. She led awareness campaigns and worked to ensure that construction was halted and local wildlife was protected. Her work and courage inspired others to join her cause. Together, they fought for the protection of wildlife and the preservation of natural habitats throughout California. The story of Lisa and her students became a legend in the school where she worked. They were remembered as survivors of a bear attack and as examples of courage and determination in the face of adversity. Lisa, in turn, became a local hero and an inspiration to many people. She proved that one person can make a difference and that an act of courage can change the world. Her story became an example of how determination and courage can change the world and protect those we love.